me Kay and welcome to my channel. Alright, so this is a channel that's all about motherhood, mom life, but being honest about it. And one of the things that I felt in my motherhood journey that I've always wanted to share about is my 2 C-sections. And why have I wanted to share about those C-sections? Because I never dreamed that I would ever have C-sections. So I'm gonna share in this video some encouragement, some things that I've learned about having C-sections, and hopefully share with you what you can do if you have to prepare for one. So let me back up. I have 2 boys, 2 babies, one 2-year-old and one 7, almost 8-month-old, and they were both born by C-section. Now, if you look back on my life, my childhood, you'll know I never wanted to have a C-section. Like, I was that kid watching, I don't know if it was like TLC or whatever the channel was that like where they delivered babies. That was me. I was that child that was like, oh, I can't wait to have my baby. I want a natural baby. I don't want any meds. Like, you know, just, I was one of those who dreamed about having a baby. Just how like I dreamed about having a wedding, I dreamed about having a baby. Not knowing all that motherhood would bring me, because woo child, the way my kids set up, the way the toddlers are set up is really what it is. But anyway, I never thought that I would have a C-section, and I don't know if a lot of people do. Well, okay, maybe they do. My sister always wanted a C-section, and she was like, nope, I'm not pushing anything out. Like, I want a C-section. But that's another story for another video. Anyway, my first son was born C-section, and I always knew that he was going to be a C-section baby because he had a growth restriction in the womb. Shout out to my IUGR moms and babies. He was not big enough to come through the birth canal. He was 2 pounds, 6 ounces at birth, and my doctors didn't believe that he survived coming through. We always knew he would be small. My pregnancy was high risk. We always knew there was an issue there. So that's why we knew I would have a C-section. So that was the first thing. I had to mentally prepare going into that birth, knowing that he would be a C-section baby. That also meant that I, in this particular instance, did not go through a normal labor with him. I did not have my water break. I didn't have contractions. Like, because he was so high risk, that was the situation of a high risk doctor determining when the best time to have him was. And that was basically when it was decided that he was in danger in the womb, and something was causing him to not breathe right, or whatever the case may be, or his heart rate dropped, which is actually what happened, I would need to have him. So that was the case. But let me talk about going into that birth knowing that I was gonna have to have a C-section, because first of all, I needed to make peace with not being able to have the birth that I dreamed that I thought I was gonna have, which was vaginal, in a bath, at home, in my living room, like the whole bells and whistles of a natural birth that I wanted. I learned early on that I wouldn't be able to have. So what helped me in that decision was, number one, this is what's recommended as the best way and the safest way by my doctors to get my baby here. So number one, I was always thinking about like the safety of my baby overall. It didn't matter at that point what I thought I wanted, because the baby came first, right? So I had to make peace with not having the birth that I thought I was gonna have and learn how to make the best of it. I had a great team of doctors. I was at an amazing hospital. I knew I was safe. And those are all the things that I took into consideration first when I learned I had a C-section. So if you're faced with, you know, having to have a C-section, and you know about beforehand, and you have time to swallow it, to make peace with it, ask questions. Ask your doctors every single question that you want to know. If you need to Google some things at home, Google. And then go and ask your doctors everything in your visits. And if they won't answer them, then maybe you need to reevaluate like who your provider is. But I encourage you to ask questions. Anything that you need to know about your anesthesia, getting an epidural in order to have a C-section, because yes, you need an epidural. I don't know if anybody's told you. Now, surgery, don't let anybody tell you that it's not. It is. However, it's doable. So anyways, always ask questions. That was the first thing. Siri thought I was talking to her. That was the first thing that I did. Ask questions. Second, you know, with my second baby, now, because I had already had a C-section, for my second baby, who was a quote unquote regular pregnancy, non-high risk, I said, ooh, I can have a VBAC. I can have this baby vaginally after cesarean. I had waited, it was past, I think, the 18 months in between my first C-section. There was no complications with my first C-section. So I was able to, like, you know, tell my doctor, I want a VBAC. Let's do everything we can have a VBAC. Now, you heard me at the beginning of this video tell you I've had 2 C-sections. So you already know it did not go as planned again. This time, instead of knowing that I was gonna have the C-section, I just knew I was gonna have a vaginal birth after cesarean. I was like, yep, we're doing this. Baby had other plans. Number one, I was not dilating. The baby's heart rate was dropping, and ultimately that's what caused me to have another C-section. This time, however, though, even though the first C-section was high risk, I felt more at ease, and there was like less craziness going on. Like, yes, we did determine, okay, baby's heart rate's not doing good. It's time to have this baby. We're gonna go have this baby. But the walk to the delivery room, the surgery room, it was peaceful. I had prayed about it. It was easy. I just had a calmness over me. Like, I was just ready to do it. Like, let's get this miracle baby here. Let's do it. The second time, it was more of the rushed emergency situation that I never thought I would have. I mean, my doctor came in, baby's heart rate dropped, doctor called a code, they're sticking me, I'm bending on all fours, they're doing all these things, there's all this commotion, and then they rushed me into the surgery room. They left my husband, and it was just like this crazy... It was this crazy situation where I'm crying. I'm crying going into the delivery room going, what is happening? Where's my husband? And I had to make a quick decision on whether I was gonna have a C-section or try to wait whatever the emergency situation was. I had to wait it out. And let me tell you, that was really scary. But again, I was stuck with having to make a decision to overcome my fear and put my baby first, the health of my child first, and say, okay, I'm gonna have to have another C-section. It's not what I wanted. So, you know, I am the queen of like being prepared for whatever you think is not gonna happen. So there was not a lot of time to ask questions. There wasn't a lot of time to think. It was like, it's go time, baby. It's time to have this baby. There's these complications, but I got through it. So first I say, if you know you're having a C-section, ask questions. But number 2, prepare yourself for anything when you're having a baby. I don't wish any emergency, any health scare, complication on anybody. But I think when you're preparing to have a child, you always, at least in my case, in my situation, I'm prepared for the worst. I'm always, you know, I made a conscious decision not to have my babies at home, at least my second child, because of the complications that I had in the first. I was like, anything could happen with the second, and guess what? It did. Now, is that gonna happen for you? No. I've seen plenty of moms have the birth that they want. This is just my experience, okay? This is my experience. But that goes to how strong we are as women, as mothers, as child bearers. I did not know my strength until I had to endure C-section and another C-section. I didn't know how strong I was, because also that C-section recovery is not for the weak. Let me tell you. I mean, once all the meds get, you know, they're worn off and you're just, you and baby, it's not for the weak. And I remember after having my first C-section, Remember, now I have this 2-pound, 6-ounce preemie baby, and they tell me you have to use the bathroom and get up and walk before you can go to the NICU to see my baby. I did not see my baby until 12 hours after I gave birth to him. I did not get to hold him, and I did not get to look at him outside of the photos that my husband took. So I was determined to get into that NICU as soon as I could. As soon as I was able to get up and walk and use that bathroom, guess what I was doing? Pain and all, we went and saw that baby. I went and saw my baby. So it goes to show though, like, you are strong, you are tough, you are made for this. Whatever obstacle that might come your way, it's okay. You will get through it. You can get through it. But you have to be confident in yourself. And even if you're not, I encourage you to find your village. Find other moms that have had C-sections or have had babies that can help answer personal questions, right? Because medical questions the doctor can answer. And yes, the doctor can answer other questions around having a C-section. But it wasn't until I found other moms who had gone through what I had gone through to talk to them about my various birth stories, and I could relate to them. I felt at ease. It gave me a sense of confidence, especially with my high-risk first baby, and to find that village. So if you're going to have a C-section, if you can prepare for it, find a village before. If you have an emergency, find your village after. That can help you with the healing process. That can help you process what the heck just happened. You know, just find your village, okay? And this one right here is really big, because I think that, especially if you're like me and you go into your childbirth like not wanting to have a C-section, this can be really personal, where it's like you feel less than a mom because you could not have your babies naturally. And that is not the case. You are a mom no matter how you have your children. Do you hear me? C-section, natural, adoption, whatever the case may be, your babies are your babies. So don't let anybody shame you for having to have a C-section. It's now at this point natural. Now, we could get into a conversation about how often C-sections are done in the US and all the stigmas and all the controversies and all that. That's not what this is. This is just saying that no matter how you have to have your baby, as long as you, number one, put your baby first, baby's health, your health, and you're in the right mind frame of that, of being healthy, it's okay. It is okay to have a C-section. I made peace with it early on, long before my first baby was due, because the doctor told me I was going to have a C-section. I had to put my wants and dreams aside for my baby, for his health, and I wouldn't change it. I would not try to have a natural baby if that's not what my doctor recommended. Now, I feel like everything with childbirth, you can say, well, yeah, doctor recommended, you know, well, can't you go to another doctor or pick somebody else to deliver your baby? Your journey is your journey. So if the information that you received from a doctor is not the information that you desire or you feel strongly about, get a second opinion. I had to get a second opinion on my firstborn. We'll get into that story later, but basically a doctor told me that she didn't think my baby was gonna make it at all, and I had to get a second opinion to decide to continue with my pregnancy. Another video, okay? But go with your heart. Pray about it if that's what you do. Talk to your friends if that's what you need to do. Interview doctors, research, whatever it is that you need to do to feel safe with having a C-section, do that. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. I'll have some more content for you. Leave a comment and let me know how you had your baby. C-section, natural, what was your flavor? Okay, that sounds terrible. Let me know in the comments, and peace, love. Bye.